Hello everyone. I'm going to talk about the JavaScript Device APIs today. Today, there are about 25 billion devices connected to the internet, and that number is expected to double over the next 3 years. By 2020, we are going to have 50 billion devices connected to the internet. So that's a lot of devices. And all of these devices come in varying sizes, complexities, and compositions. But one thing that's very common among all these devices is that they're all embedded with sensors. This is just a sample list of the sensors that are available in the leading smartphones that are out there in the market today. What does this all mean for us? If you have written an application in JavaScript, and if your application is running on a web browser on these devices, you can actually read the data that these sensors provide. And that's where we use the JavaScript browser APIs. This allows us to use the device hardware as well as the sensors. So today, I'm going to just review how to write and access and also read data from one sensor that is there on my iPhone, and that's a gyroscope. And after that, we are going to do a demo of a lot more APIs than just the gyroscope. But before we go into that, I want to highlight the window object. The window object is something that exists on the browser. I'm sure everyone is aware of it. It basically contains the properties that are pertaining to the window itself, like the width, the height, and so on and so forth. All the APIs that I'm going to talk about today reside on the window object. So you would be accessing these APIs with window.api_name or window.someotherobject.api name. So let's dive into it. The first one, or the one that I'm going to review, is the device orientation. This basically talks about the tilt in your mobile devices. So let's go through the actual sensor. The GIF that I'm on the screen is the actual GIF of a gyroscope, and it measures the rotation or the tilt of the device on the alpha, beta, and the gamma axis, and that's given at the bottom of the screen. How do we code this? So first, we start with the top of the code, which is window.deviceOrientationEvent. We check if device orientation event exists on the window. If it does, it means that the browser supports the orientation sensor reading. If it does, then we go in and we add an event listener on the window, and we give it an event name called device orientation. This is not something that we can make up and give. This is something that is already there. It is similar to the onClick or the onSubmit event handler or the event names that all of us have come across. The event listener also takes an event handler, which is a callback function, and that's what I'm doing over there in the event data. And the event data is the instance of the orientation event that we are passing through. So this device fires every time there is a change in the tilt of the mobile device. And the event handler function gets executed. And we can access the change in the degrees along the alpha, beta, and the gamma axis by using the instance.alpha, instance.beta, and instance.gamma. So let's dive into the demo. And so I have prepared a small application, and this was written in React. I'm running the server on my computer, and I'm mirroring my iPhone, which has a gyroscope and various other sensors listed in it. So let's go into the device orientation to see how it works. So I'm going to click on the device orientation button, and I'm going to keep the phone here pointing towards you. And so there we go. So alpha 360 degrees, which is the same as 0 degrees, and beta is 0, and gamma is almost 0. So that's the initial frame of reference for this. Now, alpha refers to the front of the phone. That is, if this was a car, the front of the phone would be where the headlights are. Now, I'm going to turn the car or the phone along the alpha axis, pay attention to it, and you will see the number of degrees change to 90 degrees this way, 0, and minus 90 degrees this way. Now, let's do that for the beta, which is the front and back. So I'm going to come back to the original position, and let's focus on beta. So we have 90 degrees up here, and then 90 degrees minus. So back to original position, gamma is going to be the tilt this way and the tilt this way. So that's the device orientation. So let's take a look at device motion now. Device motion is what measures the accelerometer. The accelerometer measures the acceleration of the device along the X, Y, and Z axis. The axes are given at the bottom of the screen for reference. But I will also repeat it to you. But I'm going to click on the device motion button, and we are going to, for simplicity, we are just going to focus on the Z axis, which is movement of the device along this way. So Z and ZG, you're going to see, as you can see, it's really, really sensitive, that you can actually, it detects even the smallest motion in it. And Z is the acceleration, the absolute value, whereas ZG is the acceleration with the gravity added onto it. I have rounded it off, so that's why you're not seeing 9.8 meters per second square, but it's showing 10. So if I move up and move down, you can see the numbers change, but it's very difficult to track it. So I built in an acceleration trap, which is basically if I make a moment, it captures the maximum acceleration that was reached in that swing of the device. So let's do that. So I'm going to do a swing, and let's see what the maximum acceleration was that in the acceleration trap. So 24 meters per second square was the one. One more time, 13, another time, 20. So this is pretty cool. So there's an application of this, which is, I have a form over here, and I'm going to start typing my name, and oops, I made so many mistakes, so many errors. But I'm lazy. I don't want to use the reset button, or I don't want to use the backspace button. So all I'm going to do is, along the Z-axis, I'm going to rotate, or I'm going to move the phone, and it erases itself. So all I'm trying to do here in the application is, I've told it if the phone moves in the X-axis, that is this way, at an acceleration of greater than 5 meters per second square, it erases whatever has been written. So let's try that again. There you go. I found that pretty cool when I first came across it. So I'm going to switch over to for the other APIs, I'm going to switch over to the Chrome device on my desktop. The same application that I was running on the phone is running here, but a few more things that I want to look at is the geolocation. Just wait for it. The latitude and the longitude is going to populate. There you go. So you can access the latitude and the longitude by using the window.navigator.geolocation.get current position. And once you have the latitude and the longitude of a particular device, you know that you can map it using Google Maps API and then map it around town, wherever you want to go, like an Uber car. Another hardware component that you can access is the battery. You can do this by using window.navigator.getBattery, and you can get the status of it. It returns a promise, and you can use an instance of the battery to find out the level, the charging time, whether it's currently charging or not, and so on and so forth. Currently, the level is at 91%. The charging is false because I'm not charging it, and the charging time is infinity because I'm not charging it, and the time remaining on this charge is 18,000 seconds. The last one I'm going to show is something that is increasingly becoming important in today's world. That is, every device out there has cameras. And the way to access the camera is by using window.navigator.mediadevices.getUserMedia with some options in it. Once again, it returns a promise, and you can stream the video once you have access to the camera. One thing I want to point out is that there's something called facing mode over here. If you want to take a selfie, then give the value user over there. But if you want to use the back-facing camera, if there is a back-facing camera, then you give the value of environment for it. So I'm going to execute this code, and I'm going to hit start video, and it's going to just start playing the video. So those are some of the devices that I looked into. I'm going to head back into my presentation. One thing that I would like to leave you all with is that you need to go to this website and check for these device orientations and also the device motion and the various other APIs that we have. because not all APIs are supported in all browsers in all devices. Let me repeat that again. Not all APIs are supported in all browsers in all devices. So before you use an API, make sure you go to this website, put in the API name, and see if it is supported in which devices and which browsers. And this is pretty up to date, and you can do it that way. Lastly, I have a slide on the sources that you can use and my contact information in case you want to come and talk to me about this talk or about anything else. Thank you.